how does an individual, how do people create their own personal values?
Again, it's not that you're going to create your own personal values.
Right.
It's that you have to identify based on your basic human needs, which values are important to you based on the stage of life that you're in.
Right.
Right. So I was talking to a friend of ours the other day, and this friend of ours has been very successful in business, had some betrayal, some setbacks, but he continue on. Very smart, successful person for all intents and purposes. In any way that you define success, right? And we were talking, and he's telling me about this new business venture and things that he's doing and the work that he's doing, and I'm like, wow. In any of that, you didn't even mention money in one thing, in one phrase. His main objective was creating something. You know what I mean? It's a thing when you start realizing that, you know, and I see it happen. I don't know. I mean, a few of the people that are around me, I'm seeing it happen with them. It's no longer about achieving a certain status or certain point or what have you. It's the idea of creating something, of making something, you know, an idea, and pursuing that idea, making plans to and creating ways and expressing themselves through that. That's that's the beautiful part, you know. But they already have, you know, they already went through the stage of dependency. They became self-reliant, right? They became mature, and now they're working on doing all these other things, right? So to answer your question is no. You're going to create. You have to identify what those values are based on which stage on life you're in. You know, so I can't.
So how does somebody do that when they're in the dependency stage?
Well, your emotions will tell you when it's time to transform, right?
Okay.
So again, like I told you before, when you're in dependency and you are a parent, you know, if you're a parent and you see a child constantly defying you.
So is it really happening in the dependency stage though? Isn't it happening more in the stage where you're in the more of the maturity stage? Well, not even
self-reliance.
Really. Self-reliance.
So like you're transitioning.
Right. Self-reliance.
Yeah.
So,
you try to transition to become, for a young person, you try to transition to become more relying on yourself.
Right.
You know, so you're going to go out there and you're going to question everything that society has established for you. And that's okay. I mean, you need to do that. My thing with a parent is that a parent needs to be able to, and not just parents, but people that are surround young adults.
Right.
Is that you have to be able to understand their questioning, because we all did it. Number one, it's part of our nature.
I didn't do that. No, I'm kidding. I did.
It's part of our nature. It's being able to understand that and then be able to guide and help and be there and spot and be like the lighthouses that stay clear. Watch out for that. You know, it's like that girl, that boy, not right now. It's like, and then be able to just say, you're gonna feel the emotions. You're gonna go through all this. You're gonna feel that you're in love, and rightly so. You feel all that,
right.
But always be there to like uplift, because they have to try that. You know,
right.
One of the biggest fallacies and things that, you know, that I hear people that drive themselves hard, right? Like they want to be ultra successful. It's like, well, I don't want my kids, my kids' kids to like need for anything. I'm like, that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Not a good idea at all. Because the value of a strong person is be able to transition through the stages of life and gain something out of it. But if everything is done for them, though, there's
no sense of accomplishment.
There's no sense of accomplishment. And then they will always feel in that dependency stage.
Right.
So going back to the bread or shame idea, or that idea that, you're not really doing anything with your life.
You're just taking.
You're just
which
taking.
is the idea of.
And it's bad because it creates a narcissist, but it creates so many other problems of people feeling entitled and
it can have it's a double-edged sword, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not telling you to put your kids out, work from.
No.
I'm not saying that.
No.
But it's like.
But what you're saying is that they have to be able to experience working hard for something and having that sense of obtaining that goal or that sense of accomplishment, and not having something handed to them just because I don't want you to want for anything. We'd all naturally, as parents, we didn't want our kids to want for anything, but
no,
they had to work when they were in college, but they made it through and they faced challenges and they didn't get new cars and, so yeah, I get what you mean by that. So, okay. So then, I had another question and I totally it just left my little brain right here. There was something I wanted to ask you, or I wanted to share with you so that we could talk about it, but I don't remember what it was. But basically, then just to wrap all of this whole, the values and needs up and everything. So if you were going to summarize it and do an elevator speech on what this episode is about, how would you put it together so that somebody could gain something from that?
I think the first thing is familiarize yourself with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And from there, you could start understanding. You could ask yourself a couple of questions like this, right? Number one, are my physiological needs met? Do I have a place to stay? Do I have food? Do I have access to food on a regular basis, right? Do I have a means to financially take care of myself, right? Do you have a profession? Do you have any? Do you have the basic things that you need in order to maintain your life and work towards that and have a structure in place? Do I have a structure in which I live my life?
Right.
That's the first thing, because you need that for your physiological needs. Then your goals after that. Now you start setting goals once you understand that foundation, and we'll talk about setting goals in a different place. But once you understand that foundation, it's okay. My next goal is I wanna, now that I have all my basic needs met, I may want a relationship. I may want a different status. I want to belong to something. So then you got to start investigating what those things are. Something else that is cool that happened to us is once we had our basic needs met, it was like, whoa, what are the things that interest me? And then you start exploring those things and you set your own goals and your objectives based on the things that are important. Like, well, I want to learn how to do this and I want to grow. I want to take the time to just explore and just do things with this.
Right. Well, it's like making the choice to go to go on for an
your
advanced.
School. You wanted, and that was something that you really wanted.
I wanted to do, but we definitely needed to make sure our personal or our basic needs were met.
Yeah, and again, and you could do that individually, or you could do that collectively with a relationship. We build our foundation together. We've done that, and it's been a collective journey, a quest, collectively. But people could do it on their own too.
Well,
and then,
even in our collective. In our relationship, we do things that are individual. Certainly you went through the schooling process with me, but I had to do the work. Yeah. You know what I mean? And vice versa. You've done things and it's been all from you. You're working on a book. So I think that if you are in a relationship with somebody that, it's great to have a collective, the values and whatnot are collective, but also you have to have your
individual things.
Yeah, I think that's really important.
And you have to be able to do that. So you have to evaluate where you are. We're more in the mature stage. We're not dependent on our parents, on the government, or anybody like that. We depend on our work and what we do. We're self-reliant when it comes to that aspect. We have skills. We have talent. We have things that if we have setbacks, we could readjust and figure something out. So we have the capability of doing that, to be self-reliant even in the midst of struggles, right? Because life happens. So you have to be able to adjust. But if you don't have those skills, you have to get to that. You want to get to that point, and so that way you can start exploring other potentials and things like that. Now, it doesn't have to be in sequence, but you have to understand where you are.